Hi, everyone. I'm Dana Ponsky, your guide to college, and this is Being Jewish in College's video series, Kibbutz in 10 Minutes. And today we're going to have 10 minutes of valuable information from Julianne Miller, who is the director of the Abbey Center for Jewish Life and Hillel advisor at Hobart and William Smith College in New York. Thank you so much, Julianne, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. So to kick everything off like normal, my first question is, what is the name of the Jewish Center on campus, even though I just said it?
So the name of the Jewish Center on campus is the Abbey Center for Jewish Life. Hillel is considered a student organization at HWS, which is the abbreviation we often use for Hobart and William Smith. And that's why I have such a crazy long title. But the Abbey Center is a campus building that is both a student residence and a place for the Jewish community on campus. So the main floor has kitchens, one for the students who live there and one that we use for Hillel programming, and lots of really lovely open space. And then the second floor has rooms for 9 students to live there. So after your first year, you have the option of living at the Abbey Center if you're in.
Awesome. So how many Jewish students are there on campus? And if you know the breakdown, what would be the breakdown amongst Reform, Conservative, Orthodox, Humanist, Reconstructionist, or as one person put it recently, just Jewish?
It's a good question. So I would say we have between 80 and 100 self-identified Jewish students on campus. And those are students who have chosen to indicate their Jewish identity, either on a form or by reaching out to us at Hillel. We don't ask people specifically about the flavor of Judaism that they come from, but I would say that essentially all of our students come from what I'd call a more liberal Jewish background. So the Reform, Conservative, Reconstructionist world, and definitely a lot of students who identify as culturally Jewish or just Jewish or Jewish.
Okay. And approximately how many students are on campus?
About 2,000 students right now.
Perfect. Are there kosher food options available to students? And if so, what are they?
So we offer a kosher Shabbat dinner every Friday night, cooked out of the kosher kitchen at the Abbey Center. There is not kosher dining in the dining halls on campus. So certainly students have lots of opportunities if they want to eat vegetarian or vegan. Our dining services is really good at a lot of different dietary needs. And when I say our Shabbat dinners are kosher, I just want to make sure that I'm really clear. It's a separate kitchen. Our chef who works for dining services has been trained to cook in a kosher manner. All of our ingredients are hectored, but we're not under official kosher supervision by an agency that.
Okay. So you talked briefly about this, but are there weekly Shabbat dinners or gathering opportunities?
We definitely have weekly Shabbat dinners. We don't offer a service every week, though there are some times during the semester where we do more of a service. All of our Shabbat dinners start with the rituals of candlelighting and Kiddush and Motzi. We do a little bit of learning together about perhaps the Torah portion of the week or an upcoming holiday or another theme. Since the beginning of the pandemic, we've actually added the Misha Berach as part of our Shabbat ritual as well. And we are right across the street from the Reform Synagogue in Geneva, and all Jewish students at the colleges are automatically considered members of the congregation and are welcome to attend any services and programs at the temple as well.
Okay. What is your most popular or well-attended program that you put on for campus each year?
So I would say we have 2, and both of them are pre-COVID, and we're hoping to get back to them as soon as we can. One is called HWS Shabbat, and that's a large Shabbat dinner that we host in the main event space on campus. All of our Shabbat dinners at the Abbey Center are open to everybody, but we make a special push for HWS Shabbat to have students invite lots of their friends across campus and faculty and staff. And we usually have between 100 and 150 people who attend that Shabbat dinner. And so that's a real highlight of the spring semester. In the fall, we've been holding something that we call Bart Mitzvah. Bart comes from a combination of bar and bat. And also the Hobart mascot is Bart the Statesman. So it has multiple meanings. And it's a mock bar bat mitzvah party that we hold on campus. So it's more of a social event. We bring in a DJ from Rochester and we do the hora and all of those silly games that you remember from when you were 13. And we have a photo booth, and it's lots of finger food. And it's just a way for people to share that aspect of their Jewish experience growing up. We find that most of our students either had a bar bat mitzvah, or if they didn't, when they were in 7th grade, spent time going to people's bar and bat mitzvahs. And it draws a nice big crowd, and it's just a lot of nostalgic fun.
Okay, wonderful. Are there Jewish studies majors or minors on campus, or are there Hebrew language course options that students can take?
So we don't have a Jewish studies major or minor. We have religious studies. We have a Jewish studies professor who is fantastic. We have a Holocaust studies minor, and we have the option for students always to create an independent major. So if you wanted to pursue something in Jewish studies, you would certainly have the ability to do that. You would just design it with your advisor. And we have sometimes had Hebrew language courses on campus. We don't at the moment.
Okay. All right, so shifting just a little bit, have there been or are there any political or social justice climate issues that have taken place on campus, in particular around topics like BDS or anti-Semitism or anti-Zionism? And if there have been any, how has the college and its administration kind of reacted to that? And just in general, what's the climate like for a student who is Jewish and proud to be Jewish on campus?
I think that overall we've been really lucky that a lot of the issues that you hear about in the news happening on some campuses haven't really popped up in a significant way at HWS. It is a campus that's been focusing a lot on social justice issues, especially in the past few years, though that's really always been a part of our culture, but it hasn't spread over into a big conversation about Israel or sort of any anti-Semitism or anti-Zionism. Our students have generally built a really good relationship between different cultural groups on campus. And we found that when there have been extremely isolated anti-Semitism issues, our administration has been tremendously supportive of our Jewish students. And when students have expressed concern about issues, after, for example, Pittsburgh, there was a tremendous amount of campus support for the Jewish community that was lovely to see.
Great. What are any challenges? Well, are there any challenges, if any, that a Jewish student might face when they come to campus?
I think the biggest challenge is just sort of taking that first step to reach out and connect to the Jewish community, that it is a really wonderfully close-knit and supportive and welcoming community, but it is a smaller community. You're not talking about a campus that has 500 Jewish students. So if you're not lucky enough to, have another Jewish student on your hall during the first semester of your first year, you do have to take that initial step to reach out and join the community. You will get more emails from us than you ever want to see, and see all kinds of advertisements about our events. So it won't be hard to find us, but you do have to be willing to take that first step. And part of the thing that we love about our community is that many of our Jewish students, or all of our Jewish students, feel very comfortable bringing non-Jewish friends and roommates to Shabbat dinner and to other events. I would say that at our Shabbat dinners, usually about half of the students who are there are not Jewish. They came with their roommate or their friend. So that makes it a little bit easier to reach out when you know you're not going alone.
Right.
But that's really the biggest challenge, is just taking that first step. And once you walk in the building, most people who walk in come back because they have such a good experience. But it's really just that first initial step.
The first step. What is one interesting piece of information about HWS that you'd like to share with everyone?
So HWS is a really exciting place to be. And there's actually two things I really love about it. So I'll speak quickly because I'm giving you two and not one. But one is that there's a real international outlook at HWS. A lot of our students study abroad. In fact, more than 60% of our students study abroad during one semester. And that just really adds to the experience. And most people find that they come back really changed in a lot of good ways and with a new outlook on their undergraduate experience. And we've been working really hard to connect those students to opportunities for Jewish community abroad as well. And the other is that it's a very civic-minded campus. We have a Center for Civic Engagement and Service Learning that's one of the most popular offices on campus. And a significant percentage of our students participate in service programs in Geneva and civic engagement programs. We have a group called HWS Votes that's been incredibly active in promoting voter registration, voter participation, and a lot of different service projects in the Geneva community. And I think that fits really beautifully in with Jewish values as well about engagement in our community.
Awesome. And my final question always is, what do you love most about leading the Jewish community at Hobart and William Smith?
What I love is that the size of the community is big enough that we can have really wonderful groups at Shabbat and holidays. So you don't feel alone when you're celebrating. You really feel like you're part of a vibrant community, but at the same time, we're small enough that everybody knows everybody as an individual. And I really have an opportunity to get to know all of the Jewish students on campus, to support them in the ways that they are choosing to explore their Judaism and find that Jewish identity outside of when you're living in your parents' house.
Right.
So I really love the balance of that size, which allows us to have a communal feel, but really to know and support each other as individuals.
Wonderful. Well, that's it. Those are my 10 questions. So this was really great. Thank you so much, Julianne, for participating. And for everyone watching, we will have all the information to reach out to the Abbey Center for Jewish Life so that you can learn more about Jewish life at Hobart and William Smith. We'll have that available, throughout on web pages, on YouTube channels. But thank you very much for participating. And thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you so much.